Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Frances Lorenz, and it's my delight to say hello and say hello to our people viewing far, far away. Welcome. We are broadcasting at 11 a.m. instead of 9:30 a.m. due to some technical difficulties this morning. So welcome, everybody. I want to introduce who's on the program. Terry O'Hara on piano. Jim Valley is our guest musician. And we have on platform with me Suzanne Frazier. She's our practitioner of the day. And so to get us started, we're going to have an opening prayer.
So if you choose to close your eyes with me and just feel the chair. Chair is this beautiful metaphor for God, for the universe. You sit, you don't ever have any doubt that it will fail you. You sit, you can feel supported. You sit, your feet touch the ground. It's a beautiful thing, a chair. It's so much like I said, a metaphor for spirit. And that's the thing, is that spirit is always with us. Spirit is always supporting us. Spirit has your back. God knows way before we do what's going on, what is happening, what will transpire, what will change, what will stay the same. And we can meet all of life's newness in a positive, wonderful way, knowing that God supports us in that. Whatever the change, the weather, the rain comes this morning, it's going to be sunny this afternoon. And that's the thing, is it's all good. It's all God, it's all exactly the way it's supposed to be, this beautiful balance. The rain comes, and then the sun comes. It's kind of the end of summer now. My garden is telling me that the end of summer is approaching because it's looking droopy leaves and there's no more tomatoes and the roses have faded. But in that place where that change, that looks like things are not going to come back, there's all those weeds. And they just push up bright green. The dandelions are yellow. The birds are still loving it, and the bees are buzzing around the dandelions. It's a perfect balance. Life is a perfect balance. And the only time things go crazy or not so as good maybe as we want is when we interrupt that perfect balance somehow. If we could be in the same balance as the rain and the grass and the birds, it'd be perfect. But we choose, so we have this wonderful ability to choose. And we can always choose kindness. We can always choose happiness. We can always choose to have things better in our life. We can change things by listening to a song. We can change things by speaking to a child. We can change things by listening to our minister. We can all go forward at all times. We can be happy. Even in the midst of our unhappiness, we can be happy. We can be okay. Everything is a balance. Which path will we take? Which path will we take? The one that leads into the beautiful leafy green forest? Let's go for that. Let's make our lives always green and new. That's the gift that God has given us, that around us, it's always beautiful. We can always find some beautiful thing. The pansy that's growing in the crack of the sidewalk. What a miracle that is. It gets no rain, it gets no fertilizer, there's no worms in there. But there it is, that one single little pansy through the crack. Be the pansy. Be the pansy. And I say, thank you, God, and so it is.
Erik, do you have the poem? So this is a poem from Lucas Smiraldo's new book that's going to be released in November. It's called 365 Revolutions, and it's 7 poems for each yoga pose. And so this is a mountain pose, and this is a poem. There's another voice on the tape, and there's an illustration of the yoga pose, but this is Lucas's poem, and it's a form of meditation, so just absorb.
You are not a wall, nor will you ever be. You are not a presentation, an outlook, the last word, an opinion, or a stand. You are an albatross, a landing in the Arctic waters with sheer edges and sudden drops. You have split the crust, arrived, cleaved, uneven, declared your right to elevation, cancelled all past debts collected, accepted your reason, and the albatross is 10 miles south, closing. You have hidden ledges and salt water dripping off your northern edge. You are no one's obstacle, a natural homecoming, unquiet, far better than smooth, 2 paths up and 1 destination. Name yourself.
So we're going to do a loving kindness meditation, and Terry's going to sing the chant. If you know it, sing along. It's, may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. Yes. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. And then we're going to do a real short meditation, loving kindness meditation.
Erik, should we get the piano vocal? We didn't do this in the first service, so. May you be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. And it repeats.
I'd just like you to close your eyes and imagine that you are filled with that loving kindness, and peace, and that there is someone close to you that you would like to send loving kindness. And so in this consciousness, we send out loving kindness to someone we love. And now I'd like you to think of someone with whom you've had some difficulty, and imagine them standing next to you. And imagine yourself just holding that place of loving kindness and sending that loving kindness to them. Imagine yourself saying to that person, "May you be happy." And now I'd like you to visualize standing and sending this message out to the entire world. The world so sorely in need of loving kindness and peace and ease. And so you are standing high on the mountaintop, imagining sending loving kindness to the entire world. And you are thinking, may you be filled with loving kindness, and may you be happy. So we bring our attention back into this room, knowing we have intentionally shared peace, love, and happiness with the world. So we have a beautiful opening song with Jim called Song to Autumn.
And it is sort of autumn, isn't it? Gosh, it was so great to see some raindrops out the window this morning. First time in what? Months? So this is a song that I just started singing what I was seeing, and it's called Song to Autumn. Okay, Erik? And you hear some background tracks that are kind of sweet. Clouds are drifting by, floating in an autumn sky. Birds are now flying south. Sweet taste of winter in my mouth. Mushrooms appear and fade. Nature's magical parade. Chestnut leaves of golden brown, they are now twirling down on their way to meet their friend. Replant each life again. Blue sky is pouring in, billowed clouds that just now been, as I sing this song to fall. I'm proud to be part of it all. As I sing this song to fall, I'm proud to be part of it all. Song to Autumn. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. So announcements, there's a couple of classes starting. One is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, which is our basic class. And what we teach here, it starts tomorrow night. Matthew Breck is teaching the class. And if you want to register, register today on PayPal. And we can get you the Zoom coordinate. That's from 6:30 to 8:30. Then on the 29th of September, we have a class with Reverend Drew Ebersole. He has added his partner to the instructor team, Sherry Hammond. And they're a very dynamic duo. They've been in business together for 5 years, and you're going to get to see kind of the way they work. They have worked with over 1,500 medical physicians in the Northwest, trying to get doctors to be a little more compassionate and kind in their approach to people. And they've taken from what I understand in evaluations, they've taken curmudgeons that were once curmudgeons and transformed them into really kind human beings just through this training they do. So the workshop is called Positive Architecture, learning how to change the way you think and operate to be kinder and more compassionate. So that is a 5-week class starting on Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. And then in October we have Essential Earnest Homes, which is a beautiful class taught by Beverly Holland. It's going to start on the 12th of October. And you have to have had our basic class, either Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life, or Foundations to take that more advanced class. So we invite you to check out our classes. Go to csltacoma.org, and you can register on PayPal. So I think I wanted to say something about International World Peace Day coming up on Tuesday, September 21st. It's going to be an amazing kind of interfaith community event. The mayor of Tacoma is speaking, and we have the Tacoma Refugee Choir singing, trying to get the taiko drummers, if they can overcome their fear of rain, to kick off the ceremony. They're at the Buddhist temple, and it's going to be full of all kinds of surprises, and it will end with the unveiling of a new 12-foot peace pole for Tacoma. And it's coming to us from Cincinnati, and the truck is slowly approaching right now. And so we've been worried that they wouldn't get it done in time, but it's done and it's on its way. So, and the creator of the pole, the one who did all the carving, and it's a pole with words of peace in 15 different languages, all the languages of our sister cities. And so it says in those many languages, may peace prevail on earth. And so we're going to unveil it. We've got this contraption that's going to be built so that it can be unveiled and everyone can then sing, "Let there be peace on earth." We hope it goes that way anyway. So you're invited to come out. Bring a chair if you like. It's kind of a slope at Thea Foss Park. And it starts at 11 o'clock, and there'll be a food truck there if you'd like to come. Or you can bring a blanket to sit on. There's a kind of sloped ground with kind of natural steps, like an amphitheater in the area. And you'll see this giant globe that represents Tacoma's international outreach to numerous countries. And so I think it will be a fun event. And you're all invited. It's free. September 21st, that's a Tuesday, from 11 to about 12:15. So anyway, those are the announcements. We're going to hear another beautiful song from Jim, Come to Me Slowly. And then I will do a message. It says, remember 5 things. It's actually only going to be one today, one of the 5. You'll hear about the other things to remember in the next couple of weeks.
So with this song, we'd like to take you to church.
That means organ music.
Come to me slowly, come to me sure. Sing to me joyful, but sing to me pure. Reach for me higher with all thy might, and share with me this day this wonderful light, wonderful light. Now call me the Father, sister of the Son. Now call me darling, loved one. Search for me constant through the night, and I'll come to you in the morning light, morning light. Like a seabird in golden flight. Oh, my soul, release and behold, we'll go places beyond control. Oh, my soul, release and behold. Surely unfold, oh my soul. Now come to me slowly, come to me sure. Sing to me joyful, but sing to me pure. Come to me slowly, come to me sure. Thank you, Terry.
So you remember last month we looked at the whole notion of pausing for guidance. And guidance meaning the aid of higher intelligence, the universal mind, or what Emma Curtis Hopkins would call the vast, vast countenance of God. And it's about asking for help, asking for direction, and asking for a solution to a problem. And so this month, we're talking about reaching higher and how we do that. And so I'm going to be talking over the next 3 months, no, 3 weeks, not 3 months. Where is my mind today? Anyway, I'm going to be talking about 5 ways to reach higher. And today we're going to cover one, and it's simply being the presence of compassion and peace. And at a level of spirit, we are truly all connected to each other and to everything. And so Deepak Chopra wrote a little essay called Be the Presence of Compassion and Peace. And he says at the level of spirit, of course, we're all connected. But our language, if you look at our language, it reflects the innate, essential, energetic nature. We'll say things like, well, his words really resonated with me. Or, I got a bad vibe from that person. Or, my friend has such a radiant heart. So, at some level, we are picking up the soul presence of everyone around us. Yesterday was the 20th anniversary of 911, and I had to reflect on where I was. I guess everybody knew where they were when that happened. And I was living over in a house near UP. And when I got a call, I think it was about 10 of 7. And it was from Ana Sierra. And she said, turn on your TV. Our country has been attacked. So I turned on the TV just in time to see the other airplane hit the Twin Towers. And so we were scheduled to have a volunteer party at my house. And I remember feeling so confused, not knowing what was happening, because then there was a report of another hijacked plane and then another one that crashed in Pennsylvania. And at the time, I didn't know whether Seattle was going to be attacked or what was next. We were all confused and horrified, actually. So I canceled the party, and I have later regretted doing that because I think people really needed to connect and gather. But at the time, I didn't know what was happening, whether it would be dangerous to gather or what. But it's been 20 years, and here's a wonderful story that was just released by Jerry Brown, who was a flight attendant on Delta Flight 15. And he wrote it right after 911, but I've never heard this story before. So I thought I would share it with you. On the morning of Tuesday, September 11th, we were about 5 hours out of Frankfurt, flying over the North Atlantic. And all of a sudden, the curtains parted, and I was told to go to the cockpit immediately to see the captain. And as soon as I got there, I noticed the crew had that all business look on their face, and the captain handed me a printed message, and it was from Delta's main office in Atlanta. And it read, all airways over the continental United States are closed to commercial air traffic. Land as soon as possible at the nearest airport. Advise your destination. So no one said a word about what this could mean, but we knew it was serious, that we needed to find terra firma quickly. And the nearest airport was 400 miles behind us in Gander, Newfoundland. So the pilot requested approval for a route change and from Canadian traffic and was granted approval immediately, no questions asked. So we found out later, of course, why there was no hesitation. While the flight crew prepared the airplane for landing, another message arrived from Atlanta telling us about the terrorist activity in New York. And a few minutes later, word came in about the hijackings. We decided to lie to the passengers as we were still in the air. We told them that the plane had a simple instrument problem and we needed to land at the nearest airport in Gander, Newfoundland, and have it checked out. We promised to give more information as soon as we landed. There was much grumbling among the passengers, but that's nothing new. 40 minutes later, we landed in Gander. Local time at Gander was 12:30 p.m., and that's 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there were already 20 other airplanes on the ground from all over the world. And after we parked on the ramp, the captain made the following announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, you may be wondering if all these planes around us have the same instrument problem as we do. But the reality is we're here for another reason. And he went on to explain the little he knew about the situation in the United States. There were gasps and stares of disbelief. And the captain informed the passengers that ground control in Gander told us to stay put. Canadian government was now in charge of our situation, and no one was able to get off the aircraft. Only the airport police were allowed to come around and check up on us. And at that time, there were 53 airplanes on the ground from all over the world, 27 of which were U.S. commercial jets. And meanwhile, little trickles of the news began to come in over the aircraft radio. And for the first time, we learned that the World Trade Center had been attacked by planes, and people were trying to use their cell phones, but unable to get out. Some did get through, but were only able to get to the Canadian operator, who told them that all the lines to the U.S. were either blocked or jammed. Sometime in the evening, the news filtered to us that the World Center buildings had collapsed, and a fourth hijacking had resulted in a crash. And by now, the passengers were emotionally and physically exhausted. We had only to look out the window at the 52 other stranded aircraft to realize that we were not the only ones in this predicament. And we had been told earlier that they would be allowing people off the planes, one plane at a time. At 6 p.m., Gander told us our turn to deplane would be 11 o'clock the next morning. So passengers were not happy, but they resigned themselves to trying to prepare themselves to spend the night on the plane. Gander had promised medical attention if needed, and they were true to their word, even though we had no medical situations to worry about. We did have a young lady who was 33 weeks into her pregnancy, and we took really good care of her. The night passed without incident, despite the uncomfortable sleeping arrangements. Then, about 10:30 on the morning of the 12th, a convoy of school buses showed up. We got off the plane, were taken to the terminal, where we went through immigration and customs and then had to register with the Red Cross. After that, we, the crew, were separated from the passengers and were taken to a small hotel. We had no idea where our passengers went. We learned from the Red Cross that the town of Gander has a population of about 10,400 people, and they had about 10,500 passengers to take care of from all of those airplanes that were forced to land in Gander. So we were told just to relax in the hotel. We found out the total scope of the terror back home only after getting to our hotel and turning on the TV 24 hours after it had all happened. Meantime, we had lots of time on our hands, and the people of Gander were extremely friendly. They started calling us the Plain People. We enjoyed their hospitality and explored the town of Gander and ended up having a pretty good time. 2 days later, we got the call and were taken back to the Gander airport. Back on the plane, we were reunited with our passengers and found out what they'd been doing for the past 2 days. And what we found out was incredible. Gander and all the surrounding communities within a 75-kilometer radius had closed all their high schools, meeting halls, lodges, any other large gathering place, and converted those facilities to mass lodging areas for all the stranded travelers. And some had cots set up, others had mats with sleeping bags, All high school students were required to volunteer their time to take care of the guests. Our 218 passengers ended up in a town called Louisport, about 45 kilometers from Gander, where they were put up in a high school. If any women wanted to be in a women-only facility, that was arranged. Families were kept together, and the elderly passengers were taken to private homes. Remember the young pregnant lady? She was put up in a private home right across the street from the 24-hour urgent care facility. There was a dentist on call, and both female and male nurses remained with the crowd the whole time. Phone calls and emails to the U.S. and around the world were available once a day, and during the day, passengers were offered excursion trips. Some people went on boat cruises of the lakes, others went for hikes in the local forests. Local bakeries stayed open and baked fresh bread for the guests. Food was prepared by all the residents and brought to the schools, and people were driven to restaurants of their choice and offered wonderful meals. Everyone was given tokens for local laundromats to wash their clothes. And in other words, every single need was met for those stranded travelers. Passengers were crying while telling us these stories, and finally, when they were told that the U.S. airports had reopened, they were delivered to the airport right on time. The local Red Cross had all the information about every passenger and knew what plane they needed to be on and got them there and coordinated everything beautifully. It was absolutely incredible. When the passengers came on board, it was like they'd been on a cruise. Everyone knew each other by name. They were swapping stories of their stay, impressing each other with who had the better time. And our flight back to Atlanta looked like a chartered party flight. The crew just stayed out of their way. It was mind-boggling. Passengers had totally bonded and were calling each other by their first names, exchanging phone numbers and addresses and emails. Then a very unusual thing happened. One of our passengers approached me and asked if he could make an announcement over the PA system. Now, we never allowed this to happen, but this time it was different, so I said, of course, and handed him the mic. He picked up the PA and reminded everyone about what they'd just gone through. And he reminded them of the hospitality they had received at the hands of total strangers. He continued by saying he'd like to do something in return for the good folks of Louisport. And he said he was going to set up a trust fund under the name of Delta 15, our flight number. The purpose of the trust fund is to provide college scholarships for all the high school students that helped at Louisport. And he asked for donations of any amount from his fellow travelers. And when the paper came back with the commitments for the amounts, it was for more than $14,000. The gentleman, who was an MD from Virginia, promised to match those donations and to start the administrative work on how the scholarship fund would work. And then he said he would forward the proposal to Delta Corporate and ask them to donate as well. As I write this account, the trust fund is at more than $1.5 million, and it has assisted 134 students to get a college education. Just wanted to share this story because we need good stories now. And it gives me a little hope to know that some people in a faraway place were kind to some strangers that literally dropped in on them. And it reminds me of how much good there is in the world. This was shared to me yesterday by Reverend Rainbow Johnson of Austin, Texas. So I thought I would share it. I thought it was a beautiful story. The American historian Howard Zinn offers insight about what we can learn from history. He says, to be hopeful in bad times isn't foolishly romantic. It's based on the fact that human history is a history not only of cruelty, but of compassion, sacrifice, courage, and kindness. And what we choose to emphasize in this complex history will determine our lives. If we see only the worst, it destroys our capacity to do something. And if we remember those times and places, and there's so many, where people have behaved magnificently, this gives us the energy to act, and at least the possibility of sending this spinning top of the world in a different direction. To live now as we think human beings should live, in defiance of all that is bad around us, is in itself a marvelous victory. One of the signs that we are reaching higher is that we're not getting caught up in pessimism. We are shaking off fear and gloom, and we will be working in that capacity to build the kingdom of compassion and peace. And if we are doing these things, we will have reached another rung of the ladder and will be reaching up stronger each day. God bless you. Thank you. You're up. So we get to hear this song I've never heard from Jim called Heaven's Song, which I love. Yeah.
Sky above us, the earth below, where do your gentle waters flow? The earth replied deep inside, a caring heart where love abides. The sea goes on forever. Mountain tree asked the bird in flight, where do your children sleep tonight? Sang the bird in songs so fair, they'll sleep in dreams beyond compare. Kindness goes on forever. Mountain tree asked the bird in flight, where do your children sleep tonight? Sang the bird in songs so fair, they'll sleep in dreams beyond compare. Kindness goes on forever, and when they wake with the dawn, bathe the world in heaven's song, and love the place where they belong. Heaven's song, when they wake with the dawn, they'll bathe the world in heaven's song, love the place where they belong. Heaven's song, the sky above asks the earth below, where do your gentle waters flow? The earth replied deep inside, caring heart where love abides. And the sea goes on forever, forever.
Thank you, Jim and Terry. So it's time for our offering, and we like to say the blessing in our program. So together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
And so now, once again, if you choose to close your eyes, that's good, or not. And so right now is when we take the time to think about healing and what that means to us individually. We come here to be healed, don't we? Don't we come here to hear the message? Don't we come here to see each other's faces every week and know that that's great? That we're here all the time for each other? Days go by and we don't see each other, but then when we come here, it's this, it makes you feel better. If you're having a moment of unhappiness or indecisiveness or whatever it is, you can come here on Sunday and know that it's all good. Really good. You can let go of whatever that issue is that you're having. Or if you have a friend that has a difficulty, you can come here and be supported in prayer. It could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be spiritual. But healing takes place when we really focus on it. We can hurry anything along when we're in connection with God, when the universe is working for us, with us, around us, through us. The big trick is to surrender it. The big trick is to surrender what we think we can control, or that we're not good enough or not strong enough, or somebody else does it better, or whatever those feelings are. The best part is that whether we look at it or admit it or talk about it, it's always there. We can always heal ourselves. We can always heal our neighbor. We can send that beautiful kindness that goes on forever. It goes on forever. And even in our dark moments, if we know that we can send that loving kindness to another individual, it makes all our stuff seem kind of inconsequential. It's all in connection with Spirit. Everything is in connection with Spirit, whether you think about it or you don't think about it. God loves us. God loves you. And in that moment of trouble or question, or doesn't have to be anything bad even, God, the universe supplies our need. We need to just allow it to do its job. That's the universe's job. It's God's job. We can let go of all that stuff. and just allow Spirit to enter and do the work it does so well. And I know that's true of you right now. I know that's true of each one of you. That as you allow God in, everything else will fall into place. It's all about balance. It's all about balance. And so I just say thank you. Thank you, God. Let it go, and so it is.
I must have forgot my watch. So this is a song that came from 7th graders in Chile, as they say Chile, and it's called Add Your Happiness, and we've done it before. And then after I set their poem to song, the next week I was in Brazil, and Brazilian kids created a dance with it. And it's sort of a stand-up song. Do you feel like standing up? I mean, have you been? Okay, so you want to stand up? This would be more fun than dessert. And first of all, so Erik, are you ready? Don't start it yet, but you got it. So don't start it yet. So first of all, shake out your hands. Kind of roll your shoulders back a little bit, other way. Elbows, knee bows, feet bows. Okay, so it goes like this. Hands in the air. Add your happiness. Subtract your sadness. Multiply your hopes, but never divide your love. And then there's a word they use in Brazil, and where they speak Portuguese, and the word is tudo bem, like to the brain, tudo bem. It means everything is swell, or it's a question and answer. So let me say that to you. Tudo bem? Tudo bem? Tudo bem. Okay, here we go. We're going to Carnival, Brazil. So crank it up a little bit. One more time from the top. One more time. We like this, don't we? Erik, cut it one more time from the top. All right. Here we go. Hit it, Erik. Can you hear that? Bring it up a little bit, Erik. Add your happiness. Better? Subtract your sadness. Multiply your hope. But never divide your love. We'll get it right this time. Come on, come on, come on. Add your happy. Can you sing back to me? Subtract your sadness. Multiply your hope. But never divide your love. Then it goes to higher math. Put your exponent to your joy. Take heed, delete your greed. Fraction your heart. Share it among people. The sun is perfection that equals life success. Happiness. Add your happiness. Subtract your sadness. Multiply your hope. But never divide your love. Add your happiness. 1, 2, 3, 4. Add your happiness. 7, 8. Add your happiness. Add your happiness. Multiply your hopes, but never divide your love. Tudo bem? Never, ever, ever, never divide your happiness. Hey, Carnival sounds to the vein, to the vein. My heart beats for you, to the vein, to the vein. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening in to our broadcast, and see you next week. God bless you.